Have you ever imagined that trees could bleed? That beneath their silent bark flows something that looks like blood, tears, or liquids so strange they seem conjured from another world? Most people see trees as still, passive beings. But what if I told you that some weep resin like golden tears, others ooze white milk you can drink, and a few bleed crimson red as if their hearts were wounded? Today, I'll reveal the 15 most extraordinary trees whose bizarre liquids have mystified scientists, healers, and ancient civilizations for thousands of years. Some cry tears worth more than gold. Others bleed poisons so deadly a single drop can kill. And number 1? It produces liquid so valuable it changed the course of human civilization and sparked wars across continents. These aren't myths or legends. They're real. They're hidden in forests around the world. And their secrets are far stranger than you ever imagined. Stay to the end, because what flows from the final tree literally built the modern world. Let's begin. Number 15. Strangler fig, Ficus species. Imagine a tree that bleeds poison so toxic it burns skin on contact, and uses that poisoned blood to murder its host from the inside out. The strangler fig begins life as a tiny seed in another tree's branches. It sends down aerial roots like pale tentacles, dropping 30 meters through empty air until they touch soil. That's when strangulation begins. The roots thicken, multiply, wrap around the host trunk like constricting serpents, creating a wooden cage. Slowly, taking decades, the host tree weakens, starves, dies. What remains is a hollow network, a living monument to murder. Cut any part of this tree and milky white sap flows. But this isn't drinking milk. This is poison. The latex contains phycin enzymes that cause severe dermatitis. Get it on your skin, burning follows within minutes. In your eyes, temporary blindness. Ingest it, intense vomiting. Some species produce latex so toxic that indigenous peoples use it to stupefy fish. Pour it in a pool, and fish surface paralyzed. Southeast Asian tribes coat arrow tips with it. Yet, despite its murderous methods, this tree feeds countless animals with its figs and provides homes for bats and owls in its hollow trunk. That's the strangler fig. Beautiful, essential, and ruthless. Number 14. Manchineel, Hippomane mancinella. Picture the most beautiful beach. White sand, turquoise water, perfect shade beneath a tree with small green fruits that look like crab apples. Now imagine everything about that tree is designed to kill you. The manchineel stands along Caribbean coastlines like a siren. Touch the bark, and within minutes, your skin burns. Break a leaf, and caustic white sap beads at the tear. Stand under it when it rains, and water running off the leaves carries enough toxin to cause severe dermatitis across your entire body. Christopher Columbus called it the little apple of death. The white blood contains phorbol esters, highly toxic compounds among the most irritating substances in nature. Bite into one of those innocent fruits, and you'll experience extreme burning, blistering, and potentially fatal digestive damage. Caribbean indigenous peoples weaponized this. The Caribs dipped arrow tips in manchineel sap. Spanish conquistador Juan Ponce de Leon was reportedly killed by a manchineel poisoned arrow in Florida in 1521. Today, manchineel trees in tourist areas are marked with red warning bands. Yet injuries continue. Tourists seeking shade, children attracted to the fruits. The manchineel produces suffering in a white bottle, nature's reminder that beauty and death can flow in the same liquid. Number 13. Balm of Gilead, Commiphora gileadensis. In ancient Judea grew a tree so precious that wars were fought to control it. Queens traveled thousands of miles to see it, and when Romans destroyed Jerusalem, they carried its resin as the ultimate spoils of war. The balm of Gilead is now so rare many believe it extinct. It grows as a scraggly, thorny shrub with pale, peeling bark. Everything looks insignificant until you wound it. Then thick, pale, golden-white resin flows, releasing an aroma ancient texts describe as the smell of paradise. Sweet, but not cloying, with notes of citrus, myrrh, vanilla, and something indefinable that seems sacred. The resin contains sesquiterpenes with powerful antimicrobial properties. But more than medicine, it was prestige, liquid status. The Queen of Sheba brought it to King Solomon. Cleopatra coveted it. When Roman General Titus conquered Jerusalem in 70 CE, he paraded through Rome carrying vessels of Balm of Gilead to demonstrate total victory. The resin was worth more per ounce than gold. Over-harvesting and war destroyed almost every grove. Today, it survives perhaps in a few protected locations, cultivated like a crown jewel. The Balm of Gilead produces lost history, tears that smell like paradise lost. Number 12. Pine tree, Pinus species. Touch a pine tree wrong, and it will trap you in golden amber, a defense mechanism that has preserved ancient insects and ancient DNA for 100 million years. Wound a pine, and you trigger one of nature's most effective defenses. Within hours, thick golden yellow resin oozes from the injury. This is pitch, flowing like honey, transparent to gold, incredibly sticky. The smell is intense, sharp, astringent, turpentine-like. As it hardens, it forms clear golden nodules like frozen tears. The resin contains terpenes, alpha-pinene, beta-pinene, limonene, toxic to insects, fungi, and bacteria. When bark beetles bore in, pitch floods their tunnels, drowning them in hardening amber. Humans have used pine pitch for 200,000 years. Neanderthals hafted stone tools using heated pine resin. Ancient Egyptians used it in mummification. Greeks sealed wine amphorae with it. Indigenous Americans waterproofed canoes and chewed it as gum. But here's where pine pitch enters immortality. Trapped in fossilized resin, amber, scientists have found 100-million-year-old insects perfectly preserved. Dinosaur feathers, lizards frozen mid-step, even ancient blood droplets. The pine tree produces eternity in liquid form, golden glue that traps time itself. Number 11. Chicle tree, Manilcara zapota. Every time you've chewed gum, you've connected to a tree that bleeds white gold. Latex so valuable, it created an industry and nearly drove itself to extinction. In Central American rainforests, the chicle tree grows 40 meters tall. Cut a diagonal slash, and white latex oozes steadily. Thick, milky white, sticky beyond measure. Chicleros would make zigzagging cuts up the trunk, with bags catching latex. A single tree could produce several pounds per season, but tap too aggressively, and it dies. The latex contains polyisoprene polymers, giving it elasticity. Unlike other tree latex, chicle remains pliable, can be chewed for hours, the perfect gum base. The Maya and Aztec chewed it to clean teeth and stave off hunger. Then came 1869. American inventor Thomas Adams created the first commercial chewing gum. Demand exploded. Thousands of chicleros ventured into jungles, many never returning. They climbed trees 30 meters high using only rope and machetes, risking death with every ascent. By mid-20th century, wild chicle trees were scarce. Chicle collection was one of the most dangerous professions in the Americas. Chicleros died regularly from falls and infected wounds. The chicle tree produces white latex stained with the blood of men who climbed its branches and sometimes never came down. Number 10. Mastic tree, Pistacia lentiscus. On a single Greek island, trees cried tears so valuable they've been fought over for 2,500 years. Tears that became the world's first chewing gum. The mastic tree of Chios is small and humble, rarely 5 meters tall. Only on southern Chios does it produce legendary tears. Make diagonal cuts in summer, and within days, clear, pale yellow droplets form, solidifying like captured light. Each tear hardens into crystalline drops, clear to pale amber gold. The scent is fresh, pine-like. Chew a piece, and it softens into pleasant gum. The resin contains over 80 compounds. Modern research confirms mastic kills Helicobacter pylori, the bacteria causing stomach ulcers, more effectively than many antibiotics. Ancient Greeks chewed mastic for oral hygiene. Roman women chewed it to whiten teeth. Ottoman sultans granted Chios special privileges for its mastic. When Chios rebelled in 1822, tens of thousands died, but mastic villages were spared. What makes Chios mastic special remains mysterious. The same species elsewhere doesn't produce the same quality. The mastic tree cries tears that taste like history. Medicine you can chew. Number 9. Copal tree, Proteum copal. In Mexico and Central America grows a tree whose tears become smoke that carries prayers to the gods. A tree so sacred that cutting it without permission was once punishable by death. The copal tree stands 20 to 30 meters tall. Score the bark, and pale milky white resin flows like tears. Over days, this hardens into translucent golden lumps that burn to create clouds of sweet smoke. The scent is fresh, lemony, pine-like, almost spiritual. For the Maya, Aztec, and Mesoamerican civilizations, copal was the blood of trees transformed into the breath of gods. Every ceremony involved copal smoke. Priests burned it in temples. Warriors burned it before battle. The dead were sent to the afterlife through copal clouds. The Popol Vuh describes copal as the blood of trees, essential to creation itself. Spanish conquistadors documented their amazement. Every temple, every ceremony filled with its smoke. When they tried suppressing indigenous religion, they targeted copal burning. But the tradition couldn't be killed. The most haunting part? Amber, fossilized resin with prehistoric insects trapped inside, is often ancient copal, millions of years old. The copal tree produces solidified time, smoke that bridges worlds. Number 8. Sweetgum, Liquidambar styraciflua. Walk through eastern North American forests in autumn, and you'll see a tree that bleeds amber, liquid gold hardening into crystalline tears. The sweetgum rises 30 meters tall with star-shaped leaves turning spectacular purple, orange, and crimson in fall. Wound the bark deeply, and sticky amber resin oozes out, flowing slowly like honey, catching light with golden translucence. As it hardens, it forms glossy nodules, fossilized tears clinging to the trunk. The resin has a sweet, balsamic fragrance, vanilla-like and warm. The chemistry centers on storax, aromatic hydrocarbons that are antimicrobial and antiseptic. Native American tribes prized sweetgum resin. The Cherokee mixed it with bear fat for wound salve. The Creek chewed it like gum, one of North America's earliest chewing gums. During the Civil War, Confederate soldiers collected sweetgum resin to treat battle wounds. The sweetgum weeps centuries of memory crystallized into amber medicine. Number 7. Milk tree, Brosimum utile. What if there's a tree that produces milk? Real, drinkable, nutritious milk, flowing from its veins like a hidden cow in wood form. In the Amazon and Central America, the milk tree grows up to 30 meters tall with smooth gray bark. Make a single cut, and thick white liquid flows, so creamy that first European explorers refused to believe it was real until they tasted it. The liquid emerges as a white stream, viscous and opaque. It tastes faintly sweet, slightly nutty, remarkably similar to cow's milk. The latex contains 57% water, along with vegetable wax, resins, proteins, and natural sugars. Unlike other latex, it lacks toxic compounds making other tree milk dangerous. For indigenous Amazonians, the milk tree has been a survival resource for countless generations. During dry seasons, families would tap these trees, collecting several liters daily. Children drank it fresh. Adults mixed it with cassava flour. Alexander von Humboldt tasted it in 1800 and reported with astonishment that it was thick, creamy, and agreeable. The milk tree produces drinkable milk, proof that nature offers solutions so simple we overlook them. Number 6. Myrrh tree, Commiphora myrrha. If frankincense was ancient world's gold, myrrh was its silver, darker, more mysterious, just as precious. This is the tree that cries bitter tears. The myrrh tree is stunted, twisted, barely taller than a person, with thorny branches. Wound this humble tree, and pale, oily resin emerges. As days pass, it hardens into dark reddish-brown tears, some nearly black, rough-textured like dried blood. The interior glows translucent, like dark honey. The chemistry includes sesquiterpenes, compounds that are antiseptic, anti-inflammatory, and analgesic. The resin gives it a warm, earthy, slightly bitter aroma, deeper than frankincense, tinged with sadness. For over 4,000 years, myrrh has been humanity's medicine. Ancient Egyptians used it in embalming. Greek soldiers carried it into battle. The Bible mentions it over 150 times, a gift to Christ, offered to Jesus on the cross as pain reliever. Arabian women chewed it for healthy gums, but myrrh's name comes from Arabic myrrh, bitter. In ancient symbolism, myrrh represented death and suffering. While frankincense was burned for joy, myrrh was burned for sorrow. The myrrh tree weeps dark tears of endurance, bitter medicine for a world that never stops hurting. Number 5. Frankincense tree, Boswellia sacra. In the harshest deserts of Arabia grows a tree that weeps golden tears worth more than most people will earn. The ancients called it the tree of gods, and its tears have been coveted for 6,000 years. The frankincense tree is twisted and gnarled, clinging to limestone cliffs in Oman, Yemen, and Somalia. Score the bark, and within days clear liquid oozes from the wound. As it meets scorching air, it solidifies, turning from translucent to pale yellow, then amber, then rich golden orange. These hardened tears gleam like captured sunlight. The resin contains boswellic acids with powerful anti-inflammatory properties and aromatic terpenes, creating a woody, spicy, slightly lemony scent with almost spiritual quality. Each tree produces only 10 kilograms yearly. 3,000 years ago, frankincense was literally worth its weight in gold. The Queen of Sheba brought it to King Solomon. Egyptian priests burned it believing smoke carried prayers to heaven. When 3 wise men brought gifts to infant Jesus, frankincense was listed alongside gold and myrrh. Wars were fought over frankincense-producing regions. Frankincense isn't just resin. It's solidified prayer, crystallized wealth, tears that turn suffering into treasure. Number 4. Bloodwood tree, Pterocarpus angolensis. Deep in African savanna grows a tree called the tree that refuses to die quietly. When you wound its bark, it doesn't simply leak sap, it bleeds. The bloodwood stands with thick trunk and bark furrowed like elephant skin. Cut into that trunk, and deep red liquid flows, thick as syrup, blood red. The sap catches light like liquid garnets, streaming down bark in crimson rivulets. As it oxidizes, it darkens, becoming nearly black at edges while maintaining shocking red core. The chemistry involves kino resin loaded with tannins. Its antimicrobial properties kill invading organisms within minutes. Boring insects become trapped and suffocated in the sticky red flood. African communities have known bloodwood's secrets for millennia. The Ovambo people use red sap to treat infections. Zambian healers mix it with water for dysentery. The Shona consider it sacred. During coming-of-age ceremonies, warriors had wounds sealed with bloodwood resin, symbolizing blood they would shed. But the tree's golden heartwood is one of Africa's most valuable timbers. Illegal logging has devastated populations. When loggers fell these trees, they bleed profusely. Workers report finding it disturbing. The bloodwood bleeds, accuses, and remembers every wound in permanent red testimony. Number 3. Dragon's blood tree, Dracaena cinnabari. Imagine slicing into a tree and watching as thick crimson liquid oozes from the wound. Not sap, not water, but something that looks exactly like blood freshly spilled. Rising from rocky slopes of Yemen's isolated Socotra Island, this tree spreads its branches in a perfect umbrella shape. Its bark is rough and gray, weathered by centuries. But beneath lurks something extraordinary. Resin so deeply red, it could pass for blood of mythical creatures. When the trunk is cut, thick droplets emerge, viscous and dark as rubies. As resin meets air, it hardens into brittle, glass-like substance that gleams with supernatural intensity. The tree produces Drakerhoden and phenolic compounds, creating shocking crimson color. The resin seals wounds instantly, preventing infection and water loss. Scientists have found its antimicrobial properties remarkably effective. For over 5,000 years, ancient civilizations revered this liquid as sacred. Romans used it as medicine and dye. Medieval alchemists believed it held magical properties. In ancient Mesopotamia, it was traded ounce for ounce with precious metals. But the dragon's blood trade nearly destroyed these trees. Overharvesting has left only scattered populations. Climate change now pushes them toward extinction. That's the dragon's blood tree. Ancient, bleeding, and running out of time. Number 2. Copaiba tree, Copaifera species. Deep in the Amazon flows a liquid so pure that indigenous healers call it the blood of the forest. And it might be the most medicinally valuable tree liquid on Earth. The copaiba tree towers 30 meters high with massive trunk. Drill a small hole into the heartwood, and something miraculous happens. Clear, golden oil begins to flow. Not resin that hardens, but pure liquid oil that streams out for hours, sometimes yielding 40 liters from a single tree without harming it. This oleoresin flows like liquid amber, transparent to pale gold, with a distinctive woody sweet aroma. The chemistry is pharmaceutical grade. Copaiba oil contains beta-caryophyllene and sesquiterpenes with powerful anti-inflammatory properties exceeding many modern drugs. Scientific studies confirm it reduces inflammation, kills bacteria, promotes wound healing, and shows promise against cancer cells. For indigenous Amazonians, copaiba has been medicine for 400-plus documented years, likely thousands more. They use it for everything: wounds, respiratory infections, stomach ulcers, skin conditions. Shamans consider it sacred. Portuguese colonists learned from indigenous peoples and shipped copaiba oil to Europe, where it became valuable medicine. What makes copaiba extraordinary? Unlike most tree resins, copaiba oil can be used directly from the tree. Drill, collect, apply. The tree heals itself and can be tapped again years later. The copaiba tree produces liquid pharmacy, renewable medicine, and hope that nature's simplest gifts might be its most powerful. Number 1. Rubber tree, Hevea brasiliensis. Imagine a liquid so valuable it changed industrial civilization, sparked wars, enslaved thousands, and transformed the modern world, all flowing from a single tree species. Native to the Amazon, the rubber tree stands 30 meters tall with smooth gray bark marked with diagonal scars, signatures of tappers who've bled it for latex. Make a diagonal cut, and within seconds, white liquid flows. It drips steadily, collecting in cups. This isn't sap, it's latex, a colloidal suspension of rubber particles, thick as cream and smooth as silk. Hevea brasiliensis produces latex in specialized latticifers throughout bark. When you cut bark, you rupture thousands of these cells, and latex flows under internal pressure, sometimes for hours. The mixture serves as defense, sticky, fast-drying, capable of trapping insects and sealing wounds. For thousands of years, indigenous Amazonians knew this secret. The Olmecs played ball games with rubber as early as 1600 BCE. They called it caoutchouc, the weeping wood. Then came 1869. The rubber boom exploded. It created instant millionaires, built Manaus's opera house, marble and gold in jungle, and led to enslavement and death of countless indigenous people, forced to tap trees until their hands bled. When British biopirate Henry Wickham smuggled 70,000 seeds out of Brazil in 1876, he broke the Amazon's monopoly and shifted production to Southeast Asian plantations where trees were bled systematically. The rubber tree produces empire, atrocity, and the elastic holding the modern world together. One white drop at a time. From crimson blood to golden tears, from drinkable milk to deadly poison, these 15 trees prove that nature's liquids are far stranger than we imagined. Some cry medicine that saved civilizations, others bleed resin that built empires. A few weep poisons that kill with a touch. The next time you see a tree, remember, you're not just looking at wood and leaves. You're looking at a chemical factory, a living pharmacy, and perhaps, if you wound it, a creature that bleeds something far more extraordinary than you expected. Nature doesn't just grow trees, it creates wells of liquid wonder, fountains of poison and medicine, and bleeding witnesses to everything that has ever happened beneath their branches.